single-seat fighter pilot is a fairly unique thing to be.
The traits that make a good fighter pilot are absolutely universal. No matter what plane he's flying, he's got to be able to multitask, be very effective at making good decisions, obviously be athletic and in good physical condition.
The ability to feel the aircraft is certainly an important capability for you to be able to maximize the maneuvering of your aircraft. No doubt about that.
They've done everything they can do prior to the mission to try to eliminate as many of the unknowns as they possibly can. There's always risk, but there's always an understanding of what the risk is worth versus the reward. What we're trying to do is we're trying to challenge everybody and take them to right to the peak of their proficiency. It's the young guys that are flying it and they say, wow, this was supposed to do this, but I can take it and I can do a whole new thing with it.
First time you take the F-22 into a large force employment exercise like Red Flag, that's when you really start to appreciate what this leap in technology gives you.
We get to give them the best training in the world. We get to put them through those bloodless battles, and then they'll be so much better for it when they actually have to go execute the mission.
The challenge for us is to know that there are threats out there that can present a serious challenge to our air superiority, and that we always need to be on the cutting edge.
We would like to think that every graduate of the United States Air Force Test Pilot School has the potential to be a senior leader in our Air Force. It is difficult, but if they weren't able to hack it, they probably wouldn't be here.
If we can get those talented people into the test world, now they can be the smart people who are testing those weapon systems, make them better to the warfighter as fast as we can so that they can use them in the combat environment. And that's what I'm excited about.
It's one thing to do science in a lab. It's another to do science inverted at 450 knots, pulling a few Gs. I mean, that's just a blast.
Now we're in the 21st century. The limit is out there. You know, how much are we willing to press that limit?
Red Flag offers us that rare opportunity to fly very close to what we would actually have to do were we called into combat operations.
When I went through pilot training, there was one thing I wanted to be, and that was to be an F-15C pilot. A single-seat fighter pilot is a fairly unique thing to be. Very task saturating because you not only have to worry about maintaining visually your flight lead, but you're working your radar, listening to your radar warning receiver to make sure people aren't targeting you. The United States Air Force is maintaining air superiority. It's not just because of the aircraft like the F-15, it's also because of the superior training of our pilots. And Red Flag is a key component of that.
The good news is that we have full air superiority in Iraq and Afghanistan. That might not be true on the first night of any combat operation that we would see in the future. And so we're taking our young people right now who are very used to operations in a place where they have air superiority and putting them in a situation where they don't, where they actually have to go get air superiority. And that is a very different animal for them to try to figure out.
Red Flag for 35 years has been providing the most realistic combat training that we can present our forces. What's changed over the 35 years is the threat continues to get better. In the current fights, they are using very critical skills with friendly lives and national interest on the line, but they're not always using every system. They're not contested by air threats and surface threats, cyber threats. Here, we'll let them get together with their international allies, their joint partners, and they have to bring all those capabilities into one cohesive plan to achieve the objectives, to fight their way through a very tough adversary. What we want to replicate is being outnumbered. We think one-on-one will be anyone, anywhere. But if it's 1-on-3 or 1-on-4, do we have the capability? Do our missiles work? Do our tactics work?
The history of red flag evolves from a study that was done over World War II. And what that study told us was that if you could survive your first 10 flights as a pilot, you had a very good chance of surviving the rest of the war. So what we do at Red Flag is we try to simulate as close as we can those first 10 flights in a very hot war. We take off and we go do this realistic training, and it involves quite a bit of air-to-air activity. And one of the great things that we're able to do is we're able to simulate the surface-to-air threats that can shoot at us in the real world.
The idea of Red Flag is to train like you fight. So you get the opportunity to experience what combat is like without the actual threat of loss. You also get the chance to integrate with ground assets, get shot at by simulated surface-to-air missiles. The beauty of Red Flag is you have all sorts of different players, anywhere from F-16s to F-15s, tankers, AWACS, all those different types of aircraft, and you have one mission, and that is to deliver bombs on target on time.
Well, with the B-52, since we have a lot of gas, we usually take off before everybody and hold for 30 minutes or so. It's an orchestration is what it is. We go out and hold and wait for all our fighter assets and all of our whole package to check in, and then they'll clear out some airspace for us and clear out some ground threats, and then we'll push in and hit some targets. There's quite a bit of competition here. You imagine getting all these Type A personalities in one room and then tell them go out there and go fight. You can come and get experience from other weapon systems, find out what they can do for you, what you can do for them. And the B-52 might not be quite as nimble, but you just have to plan ahead and give some time for reaction.
Our adversary tactics group are the experts. They know, teach, and replicate every system and every threat region on the globe. Our aggressors with the F-15s and F-16s do the best they can.
It's a pretty selective process to become an aggressor. Almost all of our new guys that we get in have at least one fighter tour, mostly two. Most of them are instructor pilots when they show up here. In the aggressors, we have a mantra of know, teach, and replicate the threat. And so a big part of that is knowing what the threat aircraft do out there and then teaching that to the combat air forces. But when we replicate a threat out there, we don't try to replicate the country. All we're doing is we're replicating a capability that a threat aircraft might present. We definitely tailor it to obviously the current conflicts that we're in, but we also try to look forward to what future conflicts we might have and kind of give a worst case scenario so that hopefully anything that they see here hopefully will be worse than anything they see in real life.
We typically will go up against a pretty significant red force, and that would include aircraft in the 10s to 20s, as well as surface-to-air threats.
The adversaries are experts on their weapon systems and in simulating bad guy threats. The adversary tactics are very unpredictable, and that's the challenge of it, is you have to react and make sure you overcome and adapt to whatever presentation they give you.
As far as the blue players, the good guys, we usually work together and make sure we get things done before we let pride get in the way. The bad guys we call red air, and we go out and fight against them, and nobody wants to make a mistake, and nobody wants to be the guy that caused the package to get shot down.
Everyone remembers when they were killed on the Nellis Ranges, and that is intentional. We make it very difficult that happens to them, that they're put in a position where they're threatened by all the domains in training, so that when it happens in combat, they know what to do. They see things going bad quicker. And so what we're trying to do is build their confidence in a more complex operation.
Any sort of combat engagement, at least the ones that I've been on, looked remarkably similar to a Red Flag package. I know for me, going to my first Red Flag and seeing stealth up close, talking to them on the radio, integrating them into our strike packages paid huge dividends for us later on in Allied Force and operations over Kosovo. The great part about being in Red Flag is that you've been there before, you've seen it, your nerves are a little bit calmer. You recognize when things are going right and when things are going wrong, and you can react appropriately.
The challenge for us is to know that there are threats out there that can present a serious challenge to our air superiority, and that we always need to be on the cutting edge of pushing forward, making sure that we're still staying prepared.
You just came from fighting the fight. You're now going to fight the future.
Red Flag is a gift that was given to us by those who came before us. They gave us the gift of realistic training.
Don't get too high and don't get too low. When you get too low, they shoot at him, and you're lower, they'll probably hit you.
I did a combat tour at Udorn in 1969 to 1970. I was in the triple nickel. We flew F-4Ds. We were all young. We were all aggressive. We were all trying to do the best we could do with what we had. There was a tremendous belief when we left Vietnam that there were a whole bunch of things that we could have done better. Some of those changes in our culture and the way we did things actually happened during the war. And so when we came out, it was just a logical extension to keep going with those.
I'm right over the target right now. I've got a 17 right in front of him.
Some of the things that we had been taught in our training when we went to combat with them did not work against what we called dissimilar adversaries. What you would do against another F-4 attacking you wasn't necessarily the right thing to do if a very small, smokeless, hard to see, highly maneuverable MiG attacked you.
Roger, I'm going in to break off right. I see him loud and clear. Detroit, we got things right under us, right under us.
You really have to have dissimilar training and dissimilar adversaries. And we brought that lesson out of the war. Well, one of the ways that we teach them how to do it is red flag. They wanted realism. They wanted red flag to be like it was over Hanoi. And they wanted it to be that way, even to the extent of getting real-time feedback, where they would say, Blue 3, you're dead. And he would have to, that airplane would have to leave the fight. The challenge for the F-15, F-16 guys who are in a mature weapons system, I think the challenge for them is being able to work with mixed forces. In the 5th generation airplane like the F-22, the challenge for them is getting enough flying hours because it's a new system.
First time you take the F-22 into a large force employment exercise like Red Flag, first time you get this aircraft in there, you almost don't believe it's real until all of a sudden, sure enough, you roll in on somebody that have absolutely no clue that you're there.
Having previously flown an F-15C, we had to take multiple sensors on that aircraft, put them together, and create a picture within our own mind. This aircraft actually takes those sensors, puts it together, and it gives us one integrated picture that we're able to make decisions off of.
That computer technology frees me up a little bit to make better decisions, faster decisions on the battle space, bring the technology and bring the weapons and capability of this aircraft to bear much, much sooner and more effectively.
What we're trying to do is we're trying to challenge everybody and take them to right to the peak of their proficiency. But until you put the airplane in their hands and they go fly it, you really don't know how far it can go. You know the basic it can do, but the young guys are the ones that take it into horizons never before envisioned.